solve?
The world. Watch this.
Can I get some water? I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say
It's
that.
100% a stunt. When was the last time a president stopped a speech to ask, can I get a glass of water? What? They would never do that. They would have water ready for him. And water on tape.
This next story, why people think Barack Obama and Michelle Obama are getting divorced. Okay. Let's see what we got here. So rumors of potential divorce before Barack and Michelle emerged after Michelle skipped two high-profile events, which is traditionally attended by former presidents and their spouses, and their funeral, former President Jimmy Carter. Michelle's office gave no reasons for her absence, prompting widespread speculation about marital status issues. Social media and tabloids questioned the couple's relationship, with many noting the unusual nature of her missing such significant events. Despite the rumors, there have been no
Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet-David just shattered Barack Obama's polished image with brutal honesty.
Wow.
No scripts, no filters, just straight-up truth ripping through the media praise. The carefully built persona and all the contradictions hiding beneath it, from drone strikes to cozy Wall Street talks, they peel back the curtain like never before. If you thought Obama was off limits, think again. This isn't just criticism, it's a raw reality check that tears down every illusion.
I'm serious. I'm thirsty. Can I get a glass of water? This is not a prank. You never seen it?
No.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Oh,
it's amazing.
no.
He gets a glass of Flint tap water, and I swear to God, he drinks it like this, like this.
It's so serious that Jimmy Kimmel asked Jennifer Aniston on the show, is there something going on with you and Barack? I've never seen this. I just ended to Rob, is this...
To Joe Rogan didn't hold back at all. Stormed in like a beast with a podcast mic in one hand and a protein shake in the other. Ready to rip apart every story, illusion, and reputation that had been crafted around Barack Obama like it was some sacred political monument coated in hope and reused speeches. He leaned forward, voice rough, tone relaxed. But it was clear he was about to go all in.
1.7. So expensive being at the White House. It was so expensive that our net worth went from 1.3 million to 12.2 million 8 years later. What an expensive lifestyle. And then you go from 12.2 million to $70 million. What do you think the average person that listens to this, do you think they connect to that, Michelle? I'm just curious. You're a very good...
He kicked off by asking the question everyone thinks but won't say. Why is Obama treated like a Jedi master of politics when his record was more flash than real results? Joe laughed as he described a man who spoke like a Broadway star but somehow couldn't seal a deal without leaving behind chaos, confusion, or a trail of drone strikes.
Oh, yeah, go full screen.
What you know now, do you wish you had a third term? You know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
We know he wasn't really running the country. Yeah. We used to think he was actually running the country, and now they're like, no, he didn't even see those executive orders.
For Rogan, mocked how people still get hypnotized by Obama's voice, as if his tone alone could wipe out the national debt. He joked that the media acted like every word he spoke was sacred wisdom. Even when the guy was basically saying polished nonsense, Joe said if Obama ever dropped a line like, "We need to innovate the innovation with innovative innovations," the press would praise it like brilliance while the rest of the country sat there wondering what they missed.
Running for 2 years and not earning an income. So all of that was in my mind. How would we manage this? So my fears were what came from the fact that I thought he could win. You know, because maybe way in the back of my mind, I was hoping that maybe he wouldn't, you know, that this would be the last thing he would do. But I knew he had it in him to make this happen.
So, you know, what do you think?
Then Joe went after the halo effect. That strange way Obama stayed untouchable no matter how many shady moves trailed behind his confident smile. Rogan pressed on, pointing out the wild contradictions, how Obama could talk about peace with perfect poetry on Monday, then sign off on drone strikes by Tuesday. He called it the ultimate form of political yogurt, twisting reality just enough to stay flexible and avoid taking the blame.
People age the hardest. I think Obama was probably like a very idealistic young man
Oh Lord, what's going on now? Who's hollering? I can't even see it.
who really wanted to change the world. And that dude aged more than anybody.
I mean, I'm getting old, so I can't hear that well. I can't see.
My favorite part was when Kamala Harris shows up, looks over and sees that Obama and Trump are talking to each other, and she goes like,
Yeah.
watch this.
man.
Look at her
Him
face.
off.
Look how angry she is, dude. Look how angry she is.
He tore into the branding too. Joe ranted that Obama's presidency felt less like real leadership and more like a high-budget ad campaign. From those iconic posters to the polished media buzz, it all looked like a setup. He joked that Obama was the first president with a custom logo and a color scheme, like he was launching an iPhone instead of running a country. Even his walk, Joe said, looked rehearsed. Then came the policy punchlines. Rogan shredded the rollout of the Affordable Care Act, calling it the worst tech launch since Windows Vista. He painted a picture of a president promising a healthcare revolution, but delivering a website that crashed harder than a Biden speech on quantum mechanics. Joe said Obama had the perfect script, but the delivery felt more like a sitcom with no laugh track and stacks of red tape. Again, don't even get him started on the surveillance state. He slammed the fact that the guy who won a Nobel Peace Prize, before unpacking his bags, ended up boosting domestic spying like it was some crowd-funded project. Rogan laughed at the irony of Obama being branded the transparency president while running one of the most closed-off administrations in recent years. He joked that if Obama were a magician, he'd vanish the moment anyone asked a serious question.
Let's do data. Rob, can you type in Obama's net worth in 2007? What was Obama in 2007? 1.2 million, 1.3 million. Okay, so their net worth is, let's write this down. This is pre-White House. Their collective net worth was 1.3 million. Can you go to where their net worth was in 2016 when they're done being presidents? Okay, 2016. So their net worth, as expensive as it was, they went from being 1.3 million.
Then came the economy. Joe pointed out how Obama's fans love to brag about a recovery while ignoring the mountain of debt, flat wages, and the way Main Street looked like it had gone toted up with Mike Tyson, while Wall Street clinked glasses in celebration. He mocked the fairy tale that painted Obama as a champion of the working class, when most of his decisions ended up helping the very banks he claimed to challenge. But the real kicker was Joe's take on Obama's post-presidency glow-up Netflix deals, the A-list lifestyle, and endless speeches about unity from a guy who spent 8 years dividing people with polite-sounding jabs. Rogan said, if hypocrisy were an Olympic sport, Obama would be wearing gold while giving a TED Talk on humility. And just when the smoke started to clear, Patrick Bet-David stepped in. If Rogan was the flamethrower, Patrick was the wrecking. Ball-armed with charts, receipts, and a mission for truth that made experts squirm. Patrick skipped the soft punches, zeroed in on the legacy, questioning why Obama was still treated like a saint when his administration was packed with scandals, quietly buried or spun in legal speak.
Perfectly nice person. She's getting her award. What's he doing up there? He's a jack.
It's like, oh, really? Well, you.
It was about the Taylor Swift thing.
No, all this stuff.
That guy's a jacket. It wasn't even that harsh of an incident. And he said it privately, and I think somebody heard it. I don't think he said it to be public.
I'm assuming.
He brought up the Fast and Furious scandal and the IRS targeting case with the cool focus of a lawyer laying out facts, not feelings. He questioned why Obama always dodged blame when his own agencies ran like bad skits from a humorless sitcom. Then he went after the myth of unity. Patrick broke down how the promise of hope and change faded into 8 years of rising racial tension, deepening political divides, and a press so loyal to their golden boy, they may as well have built altars in every studio. He mocked the idea that Obama was some master communicator, saying true leaders don't just speak well, they connect, deliver results, and take responsibility. Obama, he claimed, only did the talking. The rest he handed off to finger-pointing. Patrick took aim at the media bubble that treated Obama like a cult hero. He laughed at how every mistake was spun into some brainy puzzle that the average American just couldn't grasp. Patrick said you don't need an Ivy League diploma to spot a smooth-talking elitist who made a career pretending he was too wise to ever be wrong.
Democratic president.
Right.
Great
So
point.
you don't go to that and you don't even comment. First of all, if I'm the Carter family, I feel disrespected. Now, maybe she would have called them and said, look, I don't want to comment on this, but I'm calling you out of respect just to tell you I'm not going to be there for my own reasons. Please understand I can't. I'm so sorry. Da-da-da-da-da. Great. Maybe she made that phone call to the Carter family.
Then he dissected Obama's foreign policy like a surgeon with a scalpel. He blamed the rise of ISIS on a mix of hesitation, arrogance, and speeches that sounded bold but led nowhere. Said Libya spiraled into a real-life nightmare. Under Obama's watch, and Syria collapsed into a humanitarian disaster. Meanwhile, Obama posed for glossy magazine covers and delivered slow, dramatic pauses about red lines that meant absolutely nothing. Patrick didn't ease up on the economy. Either, he reminded everyone that during Obama's time, the national debt doubled, something that would have set off alarm bells if any other president had done it. But with Obama, it was sold as a smart investment in tomorrow. Patrick asked, what kind? A future looks brighter with $16 trillion in IOUs taped to its forehead. Then came the cultural damage. Patrick said Obama left the nation more divided, more suspicious, and more resentful than it had been in years. He called out how the administration leaned on identity politics to dodge real problems, how criticism was always twisted into racism, and how the media gladly went along. Meanwhile, anyone who disagreed wasn't debated. They were labeled dangerous.
When he gave a speech on television, and then they go, it kind of just went away.
It was one of the most beautiful moments in modern American history. People really actually stood up and stopped a war from happening.
Today, I authorize the Armed Forces of the United States begin a limited military action in Libya in support of an international effort to protect.
He spoke about the danger of letting charm replace real skill. When being likable is treated like actual leadership. When a powerful backstory matters more than real outcomes. Patrick called Obama the perfect example of a political influencer heavy on speeches, light on results, and protected by a media machine built on crafted narratives. He ended his takedown with a cutting comparison. Said if politics were a company, Obama would be the smooth CEO who wowed the board with TED Talks while quietly sinking the whole operation. Everyone applauds, but no one checks the numbers. And by the time they do, he's already off to his next role, selling hope to a fresh crowd richer, slicker, and more untouchable than before. And just like that, Obama wasn't just roasted. He was stripped down first by Joe's raw sarcasm and hard punches, then by Patrick's cool precision and relentless truth. What was left wasn't the dorm room poster or the glossy memoir, it was the truth. The contradictions. The spin. The brand carefully built to shine brighter than the results ever did.
Slammed for whining about costs in the White House. Okay. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. This is her speaking with, is this the diaries of a CEO, right? So Rob, if you can play this clip, this is her talking about how expensive it was to live in the White House. Go for it.
It's expensive to live in the White House.
Yeah.
As many people don't know. Sure. I mean, much is not covered. You're paying for every bit of food that you eat. You know, you're not paying for housing and the staff in it, but everything, even travel. If you're not traveling with the president, if your kids are coming on a Bright Star, which is the First Lady's plane, we had to pay for their travel.
And still, the roast wasn't done because for guys like Rogan and Bet-David, this wasn't just about Obama. It was about the culture that crowned him a king and shut down anyone who dared to question the crown. The gatekeepers who turned honest critique into forbidden talk. The system that confused slick speeches with real answers. There were still more masks to pull off, more illusions to shatter, and more names to call out. Patrick wasn't backing down, not even close. He shifted to Obama's golden boy treatment among the elites, the Hollywood galas, the late night show parades, the glowing book deals that sounded more like bedtime stories of self-worship than anything grounded in real struggle. He laughed at how Obama spent 8 years building the image of a man of the people, only to spend the next 8 living like royalty in Martha's Vineyard, clinking glasses with billionaires while talking about equality from a marble balcony. Patrick couldn't get over the fact that the same man who once claimed to stand for the poor now raked in massive fees for half-hour speeches to Wall Street. Tech giants and global firms, he once called out. He painted a picture of Obama standing in front of rows of CEOs cashing checks the size of small nations, and still managing to sell himself as the moral backbone of politics. The irony, Patrick said, was so thick it could have paid off a student.
It's disgusting. It's a disgusting lie. Let's play it.
Said that there were very fine people on both sides of a white supremacist rally.
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides. I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists.
And that was another thing Obama's so-called devotion to the younger generation. Patrick rolled his eyes at how Obama styled himself as the voice of youth, only to leave them buried under record-breaking debt and a pile of empty slogans dressed up as real policy. He tore into how the administration talked big about solving student loans while colleges kept hiking tuition and government-backed debt grew into chains around an entire generation. Joe jumped back in too, going after the ridiculous shine of Obama's celebrity status. He joked that the guy seemed more into curating his Spotify playlist than cleaning up the mess he helped cause. He said if image alone counted as leadership, Obama would be carved into Mount Rushmore, but when it came to substance, it was a whole different story. Joe said Americans got plenty of speeches, plenty of selfies, and plenty of viral moments, but not much actual follow-through. They both agreed the real tragedy wasn't just the gap between Obama's promises and what he delivered, it was how many still refused to see it. Not because they couldn't, but because they didn't want to. Admitting the grand illusionist was just a smooth-talking man in a sharp suit meant facing the truth. They'd been fooled. Raised on his slogans that truth was a hard pill to swallow.